first of all, tell me about what it means to you to be here, and I saw you, you know, just sort of taking everything in.
Well, first of all, you know, the Hall of Fame really believes in Pathfinders in the village, and once you've come out here and experienced what really happens out here. I've been close to some Down syndrome kids and some physically challenged kids and mentally challenged kids for a long time. Back in the 80s, back in Tulsa, Oklahoma, there was a tremendous facility, and along the same lines of training kids and housing them and giving them independence, and that's what we all want to. I mean, and it's not isolation. Actually, out here they have a chance to interact with the town people, with other people and everything else. So we're not, you know, it's not just discarding, it's creating, and that's the thing that we're all trying to achieve. You know, we're trying to find, I'm working with a professor at the University of Cincinnati, and he believes that he's got something that may help in the near future. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going on. We're working with a thing called Dynavision and iSpan, which I'm going to get a Dynavision board for these residents here. And I think it'll be, you know, we're trying to find a way to create why the brain does what it does and why it has missing genes and why some things happen. So it's near and dear to me. We've been working on this for the last couple of years. My neighbor has Down syndrome, and we do this in Palm Springs and in Naples, Florida, where we live. And it's just part of what, you know, giving back to society. But these kids, you know, and some people avoid them, some people look at them funny and everything else, and they realize that. And so this is a fantastic place for a person to grow and to experience. And just as we saw in the gym today, these kids were interacting and they were playing, and there was no expectations. All there was their world at that time. They'll hit it. The line drive, the fielding, the play, and everything else, and you can still see some, and you know, the level of disability and the level of physically challenged, but that's the way life is. And so Pathfinder gives everybody an opportunity to have an alternative. And for families, you know, it's hard to raise, and it's hard for a kid to be raised. It's hard for him to be in isolation away from all other students and people his age. So this gives him a great opportunity to feel important.
Now, you're also this week representing the Baseball Hall of Fame with everything that they've got going on with the golf tournament.
Well, they never have anything going on. That's why I came. They're really slow around here, and they're just waiting for the leaves to change and the snow to fall. I mean, that's just about after the induction, that's all that Brad and Jeff do, is just wait around. And yeah, we've got the golf tournament. It's going to benefit. We know that's a little over $1 million, I think Paul told me, and that has been contributed back here to this. So it's a great way to help this. Tremendous. I mean, you got the dairy farm, you got, I'm sure there's some gardening, we got the greenhouse, we got the bakery and everything else. So it's really fun, and I think it's a source of pride for the community and the nearby residents that can come in and, you know, have a little share time with all of these people. But the golf tournament, and couldn't be a golf tournament without all the people that come to play and sponsors. So you can have it, but you know, if they don't come, you have to build the event, and it's a great opportunity for me to share a little time with some of our great sponsors and some of the people that are giving their time and their money, and of course they're playing a great golf course, Leatherstocking, so it's always fun to be around here.
Now, you've also talked a little bit about this area in the Cooperstown, Edmeston, really all this central New York area, and how, I guess, you could talk about the weather, how it changes, but you know, talk about what it means to you to come back here, and you know, how much you like this area. Well,
I do love it. I mean, it's, you know, and it would be a great place to spend a week or two, maybe a summer. I don't know when the summer actually is here. Is it July 4th to July 12th or whatever it is? But I'm sure they know. Yeah. No, we make fun of the weather sometimes, but it's always been. It was a great July here and everything else. And you know, if it were traveling weren't so difficult to get, you know, some of the things. If you're coming from the West Coast, it's very difficult. But oh yeah, I mean, it's one of my favorite towns. I remember the first time I thought Disney had built the town. Actually, you know, I mean, it just looked like one of those towns that, you know, you find in Utopia, and that's the way it was. But I grew up in a small town in Oklahoma, so you know what real people are and how genuine they are, and they're just good down-home folks here. And of course, the area couldn't be beautiful, like Lake Oswego and the golf course, and you got the museums, and of course the best thing of all, the Hall of Fame. So Now they're catering to a lot of baseball teams, young kids that come in for, like 80,000 kids I've heard come in for baseball tournaments around here. We've got kids from back east, we got people back west that they're raising funds to come here and be a part of this. So I know how great it is, and it keeps this town vital, and I think this town realizes it. And hopefully, they continue to put money back into the community this way, and this is another way of doing it, is coming here to Pathfinders and being a part of this.
Very briefly, talk about, we just had the ceremony, the induction ceremony about a month ago or so, a little bit over, but talk about the guys that got in this year and, how deserving you thought they were.
Well, I mean, Gillick is, in a class by himself in his proven record, his track record. Roberto Alomar, I mean, you get totally amazed when you hear the numbers. And Bert was a long time in coming, as far as I was concerned. They did an excellent job. The weather held up, and we did that. It was also a very sad year, losing as many Hall of Famers as we did. And Gary Carter wasn't able to make it, and we wish him the best. But it's hard. Harmon was a big part of this, and Robin Roberts is one of my favorite people. Bob Feller, Dick Williams, Sparky, of course. It happens. That's just what happens in life. But it was just a really tough year, and yet at the same time, it proved to be a very, very good year with very qualified people going in for the induction.
Well, Johnny, my final question is just talk about the major leagues this year and who you think has the best shot to win.
I don't care. The Reds are out of it. I don't care. I mean, you want me to talk about the Yankees or the Red Sox? That's all you're going to do. It's not going to happen. Well, yeah, with the Phillies team, I'd like to, if we could add those Phillies pitching, the Big Red Machine would have won 140. So, I mean, it's no real big deal here, okay? The problem is that you've got great pitching, like in the Giants, and they don't score runs. So, I mean, that's the thing. And last year, it was amazing because the Padres should have won their division. They lose 10 in a row. The Giants slip in. They win the World Series. Well, then pitching became a real valuable thing. Now we've got guys like, winning 19, 21 games. I mean, it's just been great to see, and dominance of the pitching. And of course, the Phillies, leading the league in shutouts with 17 or 19 shutouts, and their ERA's under 2 and all the stuff and everything else. And they've got some good quality players. Believe me, I watch the character of the team as much as I watch anything. And so it's easy to pull for the Red Sox and the Yankees and the Rangers, and and the Rangers still aren't out of the woods. The Angels still are going to make a play for it and everything else. And a great story is Kirk Gibson from with his days with Sparky Anderson, now managing at Arizona. They're going to win it. And thanks to the Reds blowing 3 of 4 just before the All-Star break with Milwaukee, Milwaukee took off and won 19 out of 22. And it's and I saw that at the beginning of the year. I saw Ryan Braun. I saw the dedication that they have. They've gone through some injuries. Now their pitching, which they talked about was going to be so good, now is living up to that. So, I mean, it's a great year. And we still, amazingly, have the Atlanta Braves, who keep switching, personnel all the time. Young kids come in and everything else. So it's another great year for baseball. It's a down year if you're an Oriole fan or a Cub fan or somebody, and that's disappointing. I know how much those fans want to believe in it, but the most disappointing thing of all is Florida Marlins and their attendance and all the things that go with that. That's the best fans of all are still in St. Louis. They're 41,000, and they're 10 games out, and that proves to me that But that's where I'm from the Midwest, so that's where the best always comes from.
I agree with that, actually.
Yeah.
St. Louis does have the best fans.